Hey everybody! So I'm going to make a video sharing the story of how I was attacked by this colony and became allergic to bees simultaneously. It was quite the adventure. The purpose of this video is to share with folks that even if you're allergic, you don't have to be scared of bees, and rather, instead of being scared of bees, to be safe with bees. So I'm going to share this story and some tips as to what I did wrong. Last year, all three of these hives were thriving. We had gone on a trip, we went on a little hunting trip, and then we came back. I noticed that this colony was almost gone. And this one seemed little, like there were not a lot of bees in there. And then this one seemed okay, but I wasn't quite sure. There were still some bees in here, but I wasn't sure what was happening as far as being attacked by wasps, because it was definitely wasp season. I decided on a whim that I was going to throw on my suit and really quick just see what was going on. Just kind of peek in there, not open up the colonies and inspect them really, just kind of peek in there to make sure I still had bees, because again, it was wasp season and they were acting a little sparse. So when I did this, I was by myself pretty much. Chad was away and I was pretty much by myself. His dad was here, but he was distracted inside. I didn't tell anybody I was opening up the colonies. So I throw on my suit really quick. Again, I'm just peeking in the colonies. So I lift up this one, which is the smallest, and there was, you could tell they had been attacked pretty heavily by bees. So I was devastated, or by wasps, not bees, by wasps. So I was pretty devastated. And so I went ahead and lifted up the hood, and there was not a lot in there, maybe a couple hundred. So I was like, shoot, like I bet you all of my colonies have been attacked, because again, there was not a lot of bees coming in and out of any of them. So I'm like, well, I'll just check the next one too. So I checked that one, and not a lot of bees at all. Like again, they had been massacred by the wasps. So I was like, no, my colonies are getting destroyed by these awful little animals. So, and then I'm like, well, I'm just gonna check the next one too. So I checked this one, which I've made note in some of my other videos that this colony right here tends to be my most aggressive. But I assumed that because there wasn't a lot of bees coming in and out, that they probably had been killed too. Now, one thing about the way that the colonies are set up here is they're facing north, and this one is furthest east to west. The way that the sun moves through the mountains right here is they get hit by sun probably for like 8 hours, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, and this one gets the most sun, and then so on and so forth. So that had never come into play before this moment. So I opened up the colony, and in the top box there was not a lot of bees. So I'm like, oh crap. So I opened it up, and inside the bottom of the box there was a clump of the entire colony. They were just balled together in the bottom of the box, and as soon as I opened it, they started going psh, 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 just attacking my hood. Thankfully I had my hood on. So I was like, okay, usually when that happens, I just sit still and let them go over their tantrum, and they disperse. Not in this case. They were very adamant that they did not want me in their colony. Like they were aggressive before. This was full-on attack mode. So when I realized that they were not slowing down, I went ahead and put the box back on. So again, I'm standing there just waiting for them to disperse, and now they're coming out of the entrance here. They're just pouring out of the entrance, and they're covering my hood, like where I can hardly see, and I can see their little stingers trying to get to me. And then I felt a little tickle. And at first I was like, oh, please let that be a hair. Please let that be a hair that is just moving across my neck. Nope. So I felt the tickle and it was going up here and then sting. Now, I've been stung quite a few. It's just part of beekeeping, mostly. You know, you can be very cautious, but if all you get is burning and swelling, it's not that bad. So I feel a little sting and I'm like, oh crap, they're getting in my hood, which has never happened before. So I start to move that direction towards the hose calmly, and then I feel another, and then another, and then I feel it up here, and one stung me on my temple, and then here, and on my chest, and then my sting-proof suit, I got stung on my butt, and my sting-proof gloves, I got stung on the back of my hands. So I realized that I was in a bad situation. I went to the hose and I started pouring water all over myself, because I know that if they got to a certain temperature, they would just kind of go into a little hibernation mode and they'd be too cold to move, and then they would warm up eventually and be fine. So I start dumping water on myself, and I forgot my phone was in my pocket. And then my prerogative was get my phone safe. So I put it somewhere safe, and I was like, dang it, my phone is all wet, you know. So I get all the bees off and I strip off my suit, and I'm soaking wet. My dog Bo is freaking out because he knows that something's wrong, and he's underneath the truck and he can't help. He already has a very healthy respect for the bees, but he was underneath the truck and he was crying. He's all like, ah, 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 like he wants to help, but he doesn't know what to do. So I just run into the house, grab my phone, because again, my first prerogative is save my phone. So I'm like on the computer and I'm like, like how to save a phone that has been drenched. And as I'm sitting there Googling what to do, you know, putting it in her eyes and stuff like that, I start to feel this weird sensation that I've never felt before go across my eyes. And I'm like, okay, what was that? So now I'm kind of paying attention, and it's starting to get worse, and I'm starting to feel a weird tingling sensation happening all over my body. So I find Don, Chad's dad, and I'm like, something is happening. I'm like, this is different. Something's happening. I need to go to, and again, we live in a really small community, so there's no emergency room. We have a fire station. So I was thinking, that was the first thing I was thinking. I'm like, okay, if I can make it to the fire station. So Dawn drives me to the fire station. No one's there, but across the road is a clinic, and luckily that's my clinic. So I go in and I'm very, very calm, and I'm trying to keep my heart rate low because I don't want to get into a panic mode, even though now blisters are popping up all over my body, and not just a little bit, like thousands and thousands of blisters, where they're getting so many that they're now running together and making giant blisters all over me. And so as I'm standing there, I'm like, hi you guys. So, and everyone knows that I'm a beekeeper in the area. Like most people call me the bee lady, the bee lady. So, which is really cool. And so I'm like, hi you guys. And I'm super calm as they're watching these blisters just pop up over my body. So long story short, they got me the help I needed. I am now prescribed EpiPens. So I have EpiPens when I'm working with the bees. I have them on hand. I also make sure to carry the hose with me just in case I need to spray off. And I have a lot of precautions. So now I'm going to tell you what I did wrong. So wrong, and I will not do that again. So number one, when I put my hood in my suit on, I didn't zip it up really well. So I did zip it up, but there was a teeny tiny space. Like they have this flap that overlaps each other. So now I really make sure that zip. And again, I wasn't planning on checking the colonies that day. I just wanted to peek inside. But it was me being like, well, I'll go ahead and look in. That was kind of my detrimental. I was not prepared. So be prepared. Now I make sure it's overlapped, and I duct tape that hole just in case for some reason that zipper starts to become loose. Number two, I did not smoke them. I did not have a smoker. So the smoking mechanism is brilliant. It's so simple. Just a little bit of smoke, and it confuses their way of communicating, and it kind of calms them down a little bit, because all of a sudden they're now not worried about someone getting into the colony as much as, ooh, our tree is on fire, let's salvage the honey, our home is about to be burned. So it kind of switches their attention to that. They're not really care that you're peeking in there. I did not smoke them, so that was a big no-no. The other thing I did is I checked them in the so I thought it was in the middle of the day, which is usually good. You want to check them in the middle of the day because that means that all of them are foraging. However, in the middle of the day, that day was bad because it had rained the day before, and had I looked at the weather forecast, I could see that it was going to rain the end of that day and the next day. So the pressure was off and they were agitated. It would be like someone ripping off the roof of your house. So if it was a nice sunny day and your hurricane came and ripped off your roof, you'd be like, wow, that sucks. If it was a hurricane came and ripped off the roof of your house and it was raining, it would suck so much more. And they have a whole bunch of little babies in there they're trying to protect. So they were especially pissed off because it was about to rain. That's why all of them were inside. They didn't want to go out into the rain. They knew it was about to rain, and they were all bunched up in the bottom of the colony. So wait until it's going to be sunny all day long for at least, you can look at the forecast, day before, day after, there you go. Okay. Being alone. Okay, so Dawn was here. However, had something really bad happen, like say I wasn't able to, like, if I had suddenly my body decided, ooh, I'm gonna be allergic to bees. If that came on really, really fast, again, I had, from the time I started to get stung, drenched myself with water, went inside, realized that I needed to go to the hospital or to medical services, and then get down there. It was probably tops like 15 minutes. Like, it happened fast. However, if for some reason something bad happened, maybe I had passed out or I don't know, it could have been really, really bad. So, and I hadn't let anybody know what I was doing. Chad was out bear hunting. I should have waited until Chad was back. And because he usually stands there and watches me. But again, when I initially went into the colonies, I thought, I'm just going to check to see if they're alive. Not, I'm going to look inside and do an actual inspection. So those were my tips. Having said that, now I am officially allergic to bees. Like, just like that, my body decided, yeah, we don't like bee stings anymore. We are going to go into full-blown panic attack, or not me, but my body. So now I have to be super cautious. But having said that, here I am sitting right next to my bees. So again, another purpose of this video is not explaining what I did wrong, but to prove that bees really are not that harmless. So just be smart with bees. When you see them foraging in the garden, they really don't want to hurt you. They don't want to be bothered. If they're at your hummingbird feeder, it's okay. You know, if they're drinking from your pipe, just leave them alone. There's a huge difference between wasps and bees. And these little bees, they are sweet. Like, I can literally walk in front of the colonies like this and they won't bother me now as I'm allergic. So granted, when I put my suit back on and I had to open up the colonies and check them again after that whole scenario happened, oh man, my adrenaline was going up. I was like, my body, for the first time, I was kind of scared, like, oh, why am I doing this? And I realized, no, you got to get back on the horse, keep doing it. So now over time, I feel, it's been like 2 times that I've checked them, and I feel so much safer around them, only because I realize that they're not malicious animals. Just play to what their general instincts are, which is to just forage for nectar or forage for pollen and then take care of their babies. That's generally their basic instinct. So they're not going to go after you. There's really no reason for you to be scared of sweet little honeybees, even if you are allergic. Anyway, so thanks for watching and thanks for listening to my story, and I hope you learned something. Let me know what you think of my story, or if you have any other advice. I really appreciate all the feedback you guys have to give me, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.